So, my name is Malmsey Rangaka. I'm the co-founder and been CEO of the Mhudi Wines. Um, we came into the Stellenbosch farm and area in 2003. My husband and I were coming from Johannesburg. Comes from an academic background. I also come from an academic background. Then I later became a clinical psychologist. So my last job coming to the farm was being a psychology at one of the departments of government in the Northwest. And we came here not knowing anything about wine, not drinking any wine, not knowing anything about agriculture. We were just ambitious people who wanted to be part of the new South Africa and wanted to be part of the big change when Nelson Mandela said that in 1994 that Black people must find land, Black people must contribute to the economy. And then my husband and I said to ourselves, if it's not us who have a little bit of education, who is it going to be? And that's just how the decision was made. But it was never going to be a decision about us finding a wine farm. Coming from the north, we looked at about 24 farms. This was farm number 25. We were just looking for a farm where we could have land and do some productions. And the search got us further and further afield away from home, and until we ultimately got onto this small rural farm in Stellenbosch that was being sold for a while. And we were able to buy the farm using our own homes. The farm is an exchange for our homes, our pensions, and our everything. So we put everything into the farm. So it means a lot to us. But we came here in 2003. We were lucky to meet neighbors who were very kind and reached out to us to find out what we were doing here, because as they said, we were like fish outside water. We just didn't gel. So one day a neighboring farmer came to visit us and to find out who we are, where we come from, what we want to do. And then we said to him that we want to make wine, because the farm did not make wine then, but it had wine grapes. And then he said that it's not possible. You cannot do that. So the farmer said that, no, it's not possible. But the good news is that we can help you. So they decided then, long story short, they decided at that point that they were going to mentor us in viticulture. We were with our son, who I had gotten out of a job as a budding advertiser, and my husband was still in Johannesburg. He was then like a campus principal of the Johannesburg University campus, and I was alone on the farm. And I said to my son, "Please come and join me." And then he said, "No, I cannot do that. I'm just starting my advertising job and career." And then but he said, "I'll come back to you, you know." At the end of that month, in December 2003, he called me and told me that I'll come and join you. And then I was very happy. I felt very blessed, because at that time, at the beginning of January, on the 20th of January 2004, we were to do our first harvest. And I was not going to be able to do it by myself. And the workers, I did not speak the languages of the area. None of us did. We spoke sign language, and the neighbors were rallying around us and helping us. But the biggest joy for me was that my son came to join me, and the neighbors saw the opportunity and the importance of mentoring us and guiding us. And then in 2005, our three first wines of Mhudi Wines were launched. We have grown a lot since 2005 in terms of the wines that we we produce and the quality and the branding. In 2005, we started with a Chenin Blanc on the farm. There was a Chenin Blanc, a Pinotage, and a Sauvignon Blanc. And they were middle range wines that the neighbors helped us to produce. We don't have a cellar on the farm, so we were making these wines at our neighboring cellar. Um, and because we did not drink wine, we had to go around learning to drink wine. It started with juice and wine, and then ended up with wine alone. But when we started to drink wine, it was very wooded wines from other people as wineries. Our wines were normal drinkable wines, but we were not able to relate to them because we hadn't learned to drink wine ourselves. So we started with sweet wines, we went to wooded wines, and ultimately we knew that we got to learn that wine is about balance, the balance of the juice, the grape, the tannins, the sweetness, the alcohol, and everything. In the next 3 years, we were able to upgrade our wines from middle range wines to premium wines, always working on the packaging, always working on the palate, and we were able also to reach out to other farmers around us. We are members of the cooperative in Stellenbosch, and therefore we have access to grapes that we don't have on the farm and didn't have on the farm. So the wines that we make now are a good balance, as I said, and we have been able to premiumize them. And we have a barrel fermented Chenin Blanc, which is our best wine that got the Wine Masters Award in the UK a couple of months ago, and it got a 97 point. It's a very good balance of fruit, of flavors and structure, and it was meant to be for food. So it is made and matured like a red wine, so it can age for a longer period. It's a 2021 vintage that got this award, and it can still go for another 2 years because it's made to last. And we have a Pinotage, we have a Cabernet Sauvignon, we have a Shiraz, and a blend of I could say it's a Rhone blend because it leads with a Shiraz. Yeah. And they are all now premium wines, some of them available in the UK, but mostly selling locally, and in Holland, in Botswana, and now we will be getting into Singapore and the US soon. Yes, the name of the brand and the name of the farm is Moody Wines. And Moody means, translated into English, means the one who harvests. But also it's a name of a novel by a first Black South African to write a novel in English, Sol Plaatje. Sol Plaatje was the first Secretary General of the ANC back in the 1920s. The book is an epic written in the 1920s. And in my studies, I read the book. My husband is a professor of English literature, and we loved the story of this book of a woman who traversed her land, her village, during the 1920 wars between the Boers and the English people in South Africa. And she was a beacon of hope because as she ran away from the village, she ran down to a place where she found herself at a loss. She did not speak the languages. She did not know the people. It was all Afrikaners in that time. So I found when we got onto the farm, I found there was a parallel between the story of this book Muhudi that we had read and our lives coming into a place without any knowledge of anything but being able to make friends around us and being able to recreate our lives from the beginning. So that's where the name Muhudi, that's how it was chosen. And most importantly, it was a woman who was very courageous, who brought people together, who at the end of the story, we see the woman having learned and imbibed the technology of the and the culture of the people that surrounded her in a new place. So we love the story. It's the story of Moody, and also for us is the story. It was the story that represented the sentiments and the dreams of South Africa at that time. One of the things that we have started to do here at the farm, we are teachers, we are academics. So 2 years ago, we started to do a training, a learnership at the farm, where we teach young people coming from a neighboring village and about wine. And we take on a lot of interns to come to the farm, to just come and experience the farm. So our future, I see it as being able to participate fully in the South African wine industry, because it's not happening now for Black people, and to teach young people, Black South Africans, that it is difficult, but with the right attitude, the right people, the right forward-looking, it can be done. It is difficult, but it can be done. So it is to give to other people, to be, because it is also sustainable to do that, so that we are not the only ones. We have always said with my husband that we are the first, but we are not the only ones. So many people should see as an example of what people can do, moving out of their comfort zone. So it is to give, the future is to make myself and the farm the best that we can, and to teach other people that it can be done, and of course to pass it on to our children who have been surrounding us ever since we arrived at the farm. Emily is one of those rare people that that now and then you find coming to reach out to Black producers in South Africa. One day I received an email from her that said that she is in and around Cape Town, and she would like to visit and taste our wines. And then she duly visited, and we sat outside and just had general discussions and tasted the wines. And she told me her story that she is planning to take a few Black-owned brands into the UK and start marketing their wines and growing the wines in the UK. We were very excited because nobody does that really, except just one woman who came from the US in 2007 and did a similar thing. And so we have a very close relationship with Emily and her partner. And she came to South Africa there. She left South Africa, and before long, she sent an order to all the Black women, not all, but the wines that she had decided that she's going to take into the UK. And our relationship with her started then, and it's been a very, I wouldn't just say cordial, it's a very warm relationship. It's a relationship where we can WhatsApp each other. It's a relationship where we can say, here is our problem, or here are our challenges. how best can you help us? And we are always able to rally around, around her for courses and for wine shows in the UK. So we are very grateful to have met her, and we look forward to growing our brand in the UK through Emily. She's just one of those people who are stars to the women of South Africa who are in the black wine industry. The challenges come from the past. It's like apartheid is still in the little pockets in South Africa, and it's not legal anymore. But the wine industry still feels very exclusive to Black people. When we started our journey of wine in 2003, there was less than 1% Black people in the wine industry. It's almost, it's 20 years now. It's still less than 2% Black people in the wine industry. And less than 2% is very generous, because I can count the women in the black wine industry. We don't make 20 in number. So the challenges are transformation of entry into the wine industry. And once you are inside the industry, like we are, me and my colleagues, for the past 20 years, I think maybe one or two of us has been able to get into the retail markets, because the markets are closed, completely closed. So we are like every year starting from scratch with marketing. Our business cannot grow. And it is people like Emily who give us hope, who give us sustenance, because now and then we'll be able to send a few cases or a pallet to Europe, to the UK. It is the export market is our best bet, but even that is not growing enough. But it is because the industry is not supportive of Black people, particularly women. It's mainly women who are in the wine industry, because it is women who always push the boundaries. It is women who always want to break the ceiling, the glass ceiling. But there isn't support by the wine industry and by our government. I cannot put the challenges only at the door of the wine industry. It is the wine industry, it is the retailers, it is our government that has failed us over so many years. But we are still determined to try and push, because we are not doing it for ourselves only. We are doing it for Black people out there who are watching us. Some people have been watching us for 20 years in the industry and seeing the challenges that we are going through, but admiring the courage and the tenacity that we have. So they keep coming and saying, how can you do this? How are you able to do this? Can you help us do this? We do try to help them get into the industry, but it's pretty much a very closed industry. Oh, it's a very beautiful place. You wake up in the morning, you are surrounded by these beautiful mountains. It's like you are living in an amphitheater of mountains. It's all beautiful views. In winter, autumn, we wake up to a misty climate. It's got its own beauty, because it makes you nostalgic of places you've never been. It is cold, it's rainy, and it's gray, but it is the place it is, and there is joy in that. But also come October now, I'm looking outside, it's all blue. The skies are high, the mountains are like a silhouette, there's greenery. It's a beautiful world, and it's a culture on its own. When we go home to the north, it's like we're going abroad, and you feel you want to come back to this space, because it's tranquil. It's where we are. We get visitors, tourists coming in to do wine tasting, And those tourists, they come as strangers, and we spend time, we invest time in our wine tastings, because we tell people about ourselves, our stories, and it's done by us. My husband loves to do that. He loves to share the stories of South Africa and the stories of the farm and the stories of the wine. So people stay longer here than they stay at any other place in the Stellenbosch tasting rooms. And often they live as friends. They come as strangers, they live as friends. We exchange emails, messages, and some people still write us from the time when they met us in 2010 to 2007 and so forth. So it's a very beautiful place to be at. It's a very beautiful office to be at. I sit at my stoop of the tasting room with my computer and work and keep staring at the mountains. It's magical. But I want to say to people out there that here in Stellenbosch, there are women such as ourselves. We are about 10 women who have stuck together through this 20 years and said to ourselves that we would like to see the wine industry and the reception of Black people and Black wines produced by Black people received well in the world. We will stand on the highest mountains and trumpet to say that, please try our wines. They are good wines. They are made by women. They are wines of goodwill. So yes, I would like to encourage people to try our wines, either by coming to South Africa or by buying them from the people that are trying to assist us by importing these wines into their countries.